ここまで僕を連れてきてくれたのはあなただったんだね。
At the banquet. The night is as dark as ink while the city's sea of lights twinkles outside the clear floor-to-ceiling windows. Indoors, the dazzling lights and gentle stream music create an elegant atmosphere for the banquet. As you enter, many people are already engaging in lively conversations with drinks in hand. Among them are media figures and psychology academics. The banquet hasn't started yet, but there are already so many people here. A few days ago, the Vyn Mental Health Research Center was awarded the Clark Prize, a milestone honor since the center's establishment. To officially announce the good news and celebrate the award, Vyn, the founder and director of the research center, decided to hold a celebratory banquet tonight. Where is Vyn? You scan the crowd, searching for Vyn. After a few seconds, a soft voice sounds nearby.
来てくれたんだね。
Following the familiar voice, you turn around to see Vyn standing alone by the floor-to-ceiling windows, holding a drink. You quicken your pace toward him. You and Vyn stand side by side, your reflections mirrored in the glass. Outside, an endless sea of lights stretches out into the night. I thought you'd be surrounded by a crowd. Wasn't expecting you to be hiding in a corner enjoying the view by yourself. Vyn chuckles slightly and naturally puts his arm around you.
先に挨拶は済ませておいたんだ。パーティーが始まる前に一人でいろいろと考えたかったからね。
Think about what? Your opening speech or how to answer the media's questions? I thought you had everything prepared. This award is very important to the research center and even more so to Vyn personally. Therefore, every detail of this banquet must be perfect. Since deciding to hold the banquet, Vyn has been personally involved in every aspect of the preparation and has barely rested. Everything should be in order by now.
そういうわけではないよ。そうだ。午後に取りに行ってもらったものだけれど。
Of course, I didn't forget. Here you are. Vyn seems to want to change the subject, so you don't press him further and simply hand him the gift bags. A few hours ago. Vyn is too busy with the banquet today and asks you to pick up something he has sent for repair at the watch shop after work. You watch as the owner shows you the pocket watch, carefully places it back in the velvet box, and then puts it in a gift bag before handing it to you. So this was what Vyn sent in for repair.
ご覧いただいたように、そちらの懐中時計は今のところ問題なく使えるでしょうが、今後も故障しないとは言い切れません。申し訳ありませんが、そのように森月さんには伝えてくださいますか。
Sure, I will. Thank you. After bidding farewell to the watch shop owner, you leave the shop, greeted by the sunlit patterned brick road. Carrying the bag containing the pocket watch, you wonder if you should call Vyn. Just then, your phone vibrates.
もしもし、僕だ。受け取れたかい？
I was just about to call you. I got it, but the owner said, You're about to relay what the watch shop owner has said, but there is a lot of noise on Vyn's end. Probably stop moving things around to set up the venue.
聞き取りにくいだろう。待ってて。場所を移動するから。
You hear footsteps on Vin's end, followed by the sound of a door opening, and the previous noise instantly quiets down.
うん。ここなら大丈夫だろう。それで、店主は何と？
It's nothing serious. He just said that although the pocket watch has been repaired, it still needs to be taken care of. It has many delicate parts, and some of them are handmade and polished. So the shop owner can't guarantee that there won't be any problems with it in the future. There's a pause on Vin's end of the line, followed by an almost inaudible sigh. You can tell he cares deeply about this pocket watch. The shop owner's inability to guarantee that there won't be any further issues isn't the answer he wants to hear, and it piques your curiosity.
そうか。ありがとう。こればかりは仕方がないね。
Should I try taking it to another shop?
ああ、その必要はないよ。あの主人の腕に並ぶ人はこの界隈にはいないから。その時計は僕がステラ市に来て研究所を設立したばかりの頃にオーダーしたものだから思い入れがあってね。これまで愛用していたけど最近調子が悪くなって修理を依頼したんだ。
I see. Listening to Vin's explanation and considering tonight's banquet, you figure out his thoughts. The pocket watch, like the research center, symbolized a new beginning in his life. Scenes of your first encounters with him involuntarily surface in your mind again. In those fair memories, you can almost hear the ticking of the pocket watch. Come to think of it, I remember seeing you use your pocket watch occasionally when I visited the research center to see you. Seems like Dr. Risher has a thing for vintage items. Those memories from the past are warm and bright, and you can't help but tease him using his old nickname. You hear laughter on the other end of the line. Although you can't see him, you can imagine his expression.
まあ、僕にとってはレトロ趣味というわけでもなくて。針の刻む音を聞いていると、時の流れを実感できて、時間を大切にしようと思えるんだ。面白いことに、あなたと初めて出会った時、僕は懐中時計を見て時間を計測していたんだよ。
Record the time. What Vin said is a bit different from what you remember. He seems lost in thought, and it takes him a few seconds to respond.
なんでもない。あの頃は懐中時計で確認する習慣があった。というところかな。ところで、このままパーティー会場に来るのかい？それとも。
Of course, I have to go home and change my clothes first. It would be too rude to attend a banquet in the work clothes.
わかった。それではまた夜に。
With Vin's response still ringing in your memory, your thoughts return to the scene of the banquet. You see him take out the box containing the pocket watch and open it. After gently stroking the intricate patterns inlaid on a watch case, he places it inside his suit. Then he slightly moves his arm sideways as an invitation to you.
パーティーはもうすぐ始まるよ。一緒に行こうか。
Okay. You reach out to loop your arm around Vince while moving closer to him. Your reflections now overlap in the glass. As you slowly walk toward the small stage set up in the center of the banquet hall, everyone else gathers around and the media's cameras flash non-stop.
本日はパーティーにお越しいただきありがとうございます。森月心理教育研究所の所長を務める森月玲と申します。
After a formal and grand opening, Vin answers some questions from the media. The banquet then transitions to a free exchange session. You expect Vin to discuss academic matters with his peers, but after getting off the stage, he takes you aside to a corner instead. I see many seniors in the field of psychology have come today. Aren't you going to chat with them? You gently brush your hand against Vyn's thigh. You hardly had any time alone with him today, and it's only now that you are together without having to worry about anything else. Vyn pulls you by the waist in a relaxed manner, and his voice is somewhat lazy, a stark contrast to the sharp and composed persona he had on stage earlier.
話すべきことは最初に話したし、彼らとはお互い顔なじみだからね。つきっきりになる必要はないよ。むしろ、忙しいせいであなたを落胆させるんじゃないかと心配していたのだけど。
Of course not. Aren't you with me now? Let's talk about our private date plans. Since tonight's banquet is public, there will always be some formality. That's why you agreed earlier to celebrate the Research Center's award separately for him a few days later. Vyn nods with a smile. He's doing more affectionate than before.
その通りだよ。早速、待ち合わせの場所のことだけど。お任せしてもいいかな？僕はあなたと一緒ならどこだって嬉しいから。
Anywhere is fine. You really are giving me a hard time. It's your research center and your award.
うん。それが、僕たちのデートの最初の目的なのは否定しないけれど。単なる口実だってあなたも分かっているのでは？
He gently traces circles on the palm of your hand with his finger, making you feel a slight tickle. It is a gesture that feels appropriately intimate in this setting. And Vyn is right. Celebrating is just an excuse for him. What really matters is a date between you and him.
とはいえ、考える足がかりにデートの雰囲気から考えてみようか。ロマンチックで幻想的な場所なら遊園地がぴったりだと思うな。
An amusement park? That sounds pretty nice. Vyn's proposal resonates with you perfectly. You and Vyn immediately start planning a date to an amusement park. By the time you finish setting a date and finalizing the specific arrangements, the night sky beyond the glass windows has already darkened even further. I think this is pretty much it.
うん。それで行こう。楽しみにしているよ。
As soon as Vyn finishes speaking, several researchers from the research center comes over with drinks in hand.
森助さん、どこに行かれたのかと思ったら、先生とこちらにいらっしゃったのですね。
ほらほら、こんなにおめでたい日なんですから、森月先生も一緒に乾杯しましょうよ。
Some of them are already a little tipsy, clearly having a great time at the banquet. Vyn doesn't respond verbally but offers a gentle smile. He then picks up 2 glasses of mocktail from the nearby station and hands one to you.
うん。数年間、本当に世話になったね。今夜は盛大に祝おうか。
乾杯!
Yeah. The glass clings as you raise it for a toast. You take a sip and the cool liquid slides down your throat. The taste is slightly bitter yet sweet. The originally tranquil corner becomes livelier. The researchers in high spirits drink one glass after another. Suddenly, one of them remembers something.
ああ、そういえば、メモリーメンタルヘルス研究所の責任者も今日はいらしてるとか、ご存知でしたか？
嘘、あの人も来てるの？
ええ、さっき見かけたんです。パーティーが始まってから30分くらい経った頃だったかな。
Memory Mental Health Research Center? You turn to Vyn with a puzzled look. He frowns slightly but then smooths it out when he notices your gaze, as if there were no displeasure.
メモリーメンタルヘルス研究所は業界内でとても有名な研究機関だよ。児童心理学を専門として国際的にも多くの観光物を出してたくさんの賞をもらっている。メモリーの責任者であるランディは僕と年が近いし、 経歴的にも似ている部分があるからかな。業界内では僕たち二人、もしくはお互いの研究所を比べていろいろと言われたことがあるんだ。
I see.
そういうこと。今日は公式なパーティーで参加者は同業者ばかりだし、彼も来るとは思っていたけれど。
Vyn speaks calmly and objectively as if the man's presence doesn't affect him at all, and the front you saw earlier must have been your imagination. The other researchers, on the other hand, aren't as calm as Vyn. They begin chattering away about Randy and the Memory Mental Health Research Center.
あの人、私たちの次の研究対象について探りに来たんだと思う。
でも、うちと向こうの研究分野は違いますよ。我々の評判に便乗して、自分のところの話題性を集めようとしているのでは？
それが噂だけど、あの研究所、また事業を拡大するらしい。このタイミングで来たからには、やっぱり権威を示しておきたいんじゃないか？
また大きくするだって。そうしたら、うちの研究所も。
As the conversation deepens, the researchers gradually shift their focus to how the research center will change after winning the award. They discuss the possibility of adding new research topics or expanding the research center. Everyone is excited about the future. Vyn wordlessly stands to the side, and you notice him gently rubbing his thumb. Before you can finish your sentence, a brown-haired man in a light-colored suit walks over, followed by a group of media. Everyone's eyes keep darting between the brown-haired man and Vyn as a never-ending barrage of camera flashes and clips fill the air. Obviously, he's Randy, the focal point of the earlier conversation. Vyn, what is he?
大丈夫。うまくやるから。
After offering you soft reassurances, Vyn calmly walks forward and speaks with the air of a host.
はじめまして。森月心理教育研究所の所長を務めている森月玲です。
これはどうも森月さん。メモリーメンタルヘルス研究所の代表、ランディです。
お噂はかねがね。遠路はるばるパーティーにお越しいただき、ありがとうございます。
心理学の分野でクラーク賞を獲得したのはあなた方が初めてだ。どんなに遠くても一度お目にかかろうと思いましてね。栄誉ある賞の受賞、心からお祝い申し上げます。
ありがとうございます。我々の研究所が一丸となって努力した結果だと思います。
Vyn and Reddy shakes hands politely and exchange a few meaningless pleasantries. The flashes and clicks of cameras continue. The media reporters are secretly speculating about their attitudes towards each other. They both pause for a few seconds, and just as Vyn is about to speak, Randy beats him to it.
ああ、そうでした。お祝いの言葉とは別に、森月さんにお伝えしたいことがありましてね。
僕に？
ええ。あなたの研究所はメモリーにとって、森月さんは私にとって、いつまでも尊敬すべきライバルですからね。下半期にメモリーは新たなテーマに取り組む研究部門を設立します。国際児童基金と協力することで、新たな転換期を迎えたと言っていいでしょう。今後も一層の拡大を歩む上で、我々は森月さんと研究所の背中を追い続けたいと考えています。
As soon as Randy said that, the scene erupts into an uproar. Although his tone sounded sincere, what he said is extremely controversial, and in this situation, it cannot help but feel like a declaration of war. The atmosphere of the banquet is instantly ignited. The media reporters, suddenly energized, start buzzing with discussions. They may have misread the intent of the declaration, but they all seem to treat this as a contest between two kings, not wanting to miss out on the sensational news full of buzz. Randy seems to want to say more, but the camera lens and microphones are directly aimed at Vyn. At this moment, the light from the bright chandelier overhead appears even more glaring.
森月さん、ランディさんの今のお言葉に対する所感をお聞かせ願えますか？森月心理教育研究所は今回の受賞を機に規模の拡大などを考えているのでしょうか？
メディアの皆様への質疑応答の場は設けて、すでにお答えした通りです。現状お答えできることはございません。パーティーの閉幕までまだ少し時間があります。どうぞ、心ゆくまでお楽しみください。
あ、そんな一言だけでも。
Despite the media calling his name, Vyn pushes the microphones aside and pulls you away from the crowd. Whom? Although there was an interlude with Randy, the banquet went pretty smoothly overall. After the banquet, you return home. You light an incense stick and play some soft blues, which finally makes you relax. Then Vyn and you prepare to take a bath. When you return to the room after your bath, Vyn is already dressed and sitting on the edge of the bed, intently watching something on his tablet. It's so late and you're still watching videos. What are you watching?
いや、そうじゃない。これを見ていたんだ。
You lean closer and Vyn moves his tablet closer to you. As the audio and video continue to play, a familiar figure appears on the screen. It's an international talk show, and sitting on the sofa discussing development plans in detail is none other than Randy, the one who caused a stir at the banquet just now. Recalling the slight changes in Vyn's behavior at the banquet, you suddenly realize something. Have you been concerned from the beginning about what they said regarding the future developments of the research center, Vyn?
はあ、やっぱりあなたに隠し事はできないな。
With a soft voice, Vyn wraps his arm around you and lifts a strand of your hair. Moonlight spills into the room, casting a silvery glow across the floor.
傍から見れば僕がランディの発言に刺激されたと思うのかもしれないけど、僕が他人の言葉に揺さぶられることはないとあなたは知っているね。研究所が今後どこへ向かうのか、ずっと頭を悩ませていたのは僕自身なんだよ。
All along?
うん。物事は一定の水準まで到達すると必ず選択を迫られるようになっている。実はかなり前から将来のことを考えるようになっていたんだ。研究所が日増しに進歩して変わっていくにつれて。でもその考えがまとまらないうちにクラーク賞を受賞して、思ったより早く選択の時が訪れてしまった。
As the show continues playing, Vyn, bathed in the soft, hazy moonlight, pauses his movements to simply look at you. So, you're watching Randy's interview to use him and memory as a reference?
ああ、彼の言った通り、ランディとメモリーは僕や僕の研究所にとって対等なライバルだからね。彼が先手を打って発展計画を立てるなら、僕は彼を観察すべき対象にできるから。そうして彼らの計画と研究所の実情を比較して、そうした事業の発展が実現可能かどうかを確かめられればいい。少なくとも僕はそう思っていた。
The tone of Vyn's final sentence is certain, yet his voice carries a hint of hesitation. It's as if he's unsure whether seeking a reference is the right thing to do, and he can't prove that this method is wrong either. It is rare to see Vyn so hesitant. You reach out and gently touch his brow, hoping to offer some comfort and confidence. Sounds like a good idea. What are you worried about? At your question, Vyn pauses for a few seconds and sighs softly.
はあ、局所的な最適解が必ずしも全体の最適解だとは限らないってことかな。 現時点では適切に思える事業発展の計画も、後から振り返ればそうではなかったかもしれない。それに、僕にとって今は全てが完璧に近い状態なんだ。これ以上、変化を加える必要はあるだろうか。変化は良い結果をもたらすかもしれないが、それはリスクを冒すのと同じだ。
The answer he gives seems to be about both the research center and himself. The night outside the window has deepened, making the moonlight that spreads across the floor shine even brighter in contrast. You have a vague feeling that he's seeking your advice, but if you don't try, how will you know if everything is good or bad? You think to yourself. Maybe it's not a bad idea to try something new. Think about our relationship, from when we first met to when we become lovers. And now, I'm your fiancé. That's also a kind of change, isn't it? A good one. Hearing what you said, Vyn smiled slightly.
確かに、何もかもが変わったし、いい結果だったと言えるね。でも、僕たちの関係と研究所を比べると同じようには扱えない気がする。それに、あなたのことは特別だ。最初に出会った時から僕は。
Vyn suddenly stopped talking, his expression softening abruptly as if he is looking at something, or perhaps he's seeing the moment he met you through your eyes. Then he leans closer to you, his fingertips lightly tracing your palm and his fingers slowly interlock with yours, leaving you unable to gather your thoughts to ponder the words he hasn't finished saying.
この話はまた今度にしようか。研究所のことも他のことも全部明日まで、いや、あなたとのデートが終わるまではお預けにしておこう。美しいこの時間を悩み事で無駄にしたくないからね。
Vyn buries his face in your neck, murmuring softly, his breath warm and loose with a hint of intoxication. Only now do you realize how well he hid his tipsiness at the banquet. Vyn is right, there is no need to dwell on difficult decisions right now. The warm night stretches on, swallowing all sounds while your movements disrupt the soft moonlight. Home. Unknowingly, the sunlight has quietly crept on to the edge of the bed, and the cheerful chirping of birds wakes you from your sleep. You yawn and rub your eyes. The digital clock on the nightstand shows it almost noon. It's already this late. You look at Vyn, who is still sleeping next to you, lost in dreams and occasionally muttering to himself. The thin marks on his neck and the scattered clothes on the carpet remind you of last night's intimacy. Next time, I really shouldn't stay up so late. Before he wakes up, I'll tidy up the room. You tiptoe out of bed and gather the scattered clothes. Through the thin, soft fabric of Vyn's jacket, you feel a hard object. Taking it out from his pocket, you find that it's the pocket watch you brought back yesterday. It seems Vyn really values this watch, carrying it with him no matter what clothes he changes into. Wait, no way! Unable to hear the tick of the pocket watch, an ominous feeling surges in your heart. You open its intricate and exquisite metal case, only to find that the hands on the dial lay quietly still, as if time they had never moved. Although the watch shop owner did warn me about it, isn't it broken a little too soon? You subconsciously mutter a complaint, and the next second, Vyn wraps his arms around your waist from behind. The warmth of his skin is transmitted through the fabric, along with his breath against your ear.
何が早すぎるんだい？先に起きて僕を放っておくなんてひどいよ。
No, it's just that you've been working hard lately, and I wanted you to sleep in a little longer. And I was just talking about. Before you can tell him what has happened to the pocket watch, his phone on the nightstand suddenly starts to vibrate. Vyn glances at the caller ID, then reluctantly releases you to answer the call.
はい、森月です。研究所の今後の事業計画について？今はまだ何も考えていません。その件については改めてご連絡します。
After a few more replies, Vyn hangs up. His face is filled with displeasure, a little put out. Calling you to talk about the research center, who is it?
研究所の重要なパートナーからだよ。昨日のことをもう耳に入れたらしい。この機会に今後のことについて話し合いたいと。
Before Vyn finishes speaking, his phone rings again. This time, it is an unknown number. Vyn frowns and hangs up directly, but after a few seconds, the number calls again. This repeats until the third time. The constant vibrations continue to agitate Vyn's nerves. He takes a deep breath, then answers the call, pulling it on speakerphone.
どちら様ですか？
あ、森月さん。私はステライブニングの記者です。昨晩のランディ氏との会談についてコメントをいただけませんか？それから森月心理教育研究所の今後の進展について。
The woman on the other end is cut off by Vyn on the second question. By then, his brows are tightly furrowed. You open the social media app and find news about Randy and Vyn everywhere. Apparently, what happened last night has gone viral, sparking widespread discussion. Both are young talents with similar backgrounds working in the same field, making it inevitable for people to be intrigued by the scene and aftermath of this meeting of two kings. And the most discussed topics are Vyn's response and the research center's future plans. Vyn's reactions last night clearly failed to satisfy the public's curiosity. What?
パーティーを開く前はこんなことになるなんて予想してなかったな。
Vyn sighs in frustration. The two phone calls from earlier are just the beginning. In the time that follows, Vyn's phone and the research center's reception line are bombarded with calls. Even his rarely used email is not spared. Everyone seems eager to probe Vyn's thoughts, from the media and curious crowds to the research center's partners and investors. The more Vyn remains quiet, the more they are tempted to uncover the mystery. With no better option, Vyn quickly delegates today's task to his assistant before shutting his phone off.
やっと静かになったね。
Yeah, some of them were really persistent. They kept calling despite knowing that you wouldn't answer, dozens of times.
ああいう必要なやり口も、彼らにとっては真実の究明に必要なことだと思い込んで持参しているかもしれないな。
Vyn sees this as he sits in an armchair and near the window. He supports his chin with one hand, furrowing his brows, his gaze drifting beyond the glass. The sunlight is actually quite bright. It shimmers in a beautiful amber hue, but it turns slightly melancholy as it falls on Vyn. Vyn lowers his hand and sighs softly. Deep down, you know he is the one who is suffering the most. Because no matter how you look at it, he is the one who wants to know the answer the most. Actually, you don't have to think too much about it. You'll eventually figure out the research center's future direction. Besides, they will care about this for only a couple of days. Once the heat dies down, no one will chase you or us anymore. You walk up to Vyn and gently take his hands, trying to comfort him. Feeling your touch, Vyn looks back at you, his expression softening.
あなたの言うことには一理あるけど、さらに状況が悪くなる場合だってある。いずれにしても、できるだけ早く答えを出すことが先決だろう。僕は。
Vyn stops halfway through his sentence as he looks into your eyes. What's wrong?
なんでもない。ただ、こういう時にあなたがそばにいてくれてよかったと思って。それから、あの日にあなたと出会えたことも。
Vin brings up your first meeting once more, softening the atmosphere. You cannot help but take his hands and shake them gently, your eyes curving into a smile. Since you say you're glad to have me by your side, I have to do something for you. Let's go to a nice place. I promise I can help you relax and come up with a plan quickly.
わかった。あなたの言う通りにしよ
Sally's University Terrace Garden. Vin follows you outside, and soon you are both leaning against the rooftop railing, letting the gentle breeze brush against your faces.
う。いい場所って屋上庭園のことだったんだね。ステラ大学で教鞭をとって随分と日が経つけど、ここに来たことはなかったな。
Of course, you haven't. You're a teacher and you're always busy. In this relaxed atmosphere, you tease him lightly, then stretch your hand out to feel the breeze. Back in university, whenever I had something on my mind, I sometimes come here to clear my head. It's so quiet here, no one ever comes up to bother you, and the view is great. Even if I couldn't figure out what to do with my worries, at least I feel better for a while. You take a deep breath, the fresh scent of grass and the faint sweetness of flowers filling your nose.
確かに、心が安らいだ気がするよ。
For the next while, you and Vin remain silent, simply enjoying the tranquility of the place. The noise from the outside world seems to be completely shut out, and all that can be heard is the soft rustling of the wind and the occasional chirps of birds. But you know all too well that no matter how relaxed and happy he may seem, the anxieties in his mind remain. Looking at Vin's profile as he gazes into the distance, you come to a decision. With Vin in this mood, he won't be able to fully enjoy the date. Maybe we can adjust the plans for that day. About half an hour has passed. Suddenly, a squirrel darts out from the nearby bushes. It nimbly jumps onto a tree trunk, making it rustle. It pulls you back to the present. Feeling better now?
うん。気分転換になったよ。少なくとも、家で電話対応していた時に比べたら、ずっといい。
So, what about the research center? Do you have any new ideas now? You ask casually, but Vin shakes his head.
まだかな。頭の中で断片的に考えていることはあるけど、結局、無意識にそれを否定してしまう自分がいるんだ。
Dismiss them. Maybe you're attaching too much importance to the research center, and that's why you're hesitant to make decisions. You remind me of an old saying, onlookers see more than players. Vin props his chin with one hand and lowers his brow slightly.
うん。それもあるかもしれないね。心理学でも似たような現象があるよ。一つのことにこだわりすぎると、かえって間違いを起こしやすくなって、うまくいかなくなる。
I can totally understand. The research center is your career. You must care a lot about it, so you wouldn't make any plans lightly.
確かにね。
Both you and Vin fall silent at the same time, the conversation hitting another dead end. There is nothing but fog on the impossible summit before you. Suddenly, an idea flashes in your mind, and you think of a question you have never considered. Alright, I've never asked you, but what made you decide to establish the research center in the first place? Maybe reflecting on your initial thoughts will help.
振り出しか。
As Vyn utters those two words, you can almost hear the sound of rain. Bark. A few years ago, on a rainy day, a fine rain is falling, blurring the vision of passers-by. After getting off the plane, Vyn doesn't head directly to his accommodation. Instead, he lets himself aimlessly wander the streets alone. This is the first time he has set foot in his mother's hometown. Now, through the mist, he is carefully examining this alien city.
ここがステラシー。
He murmurs while looking at the buildings that are completely different from those in Swart, but no one answers him.
出発前に考えたつもりだったけど、まさか本当に来ることになるなんて。故郷を離れると、こういう落ち着かない感じがするものなのか。
Despite it being already evident in his voice, his hesitation is magnified by the rainy day. A few minutes later, he seems to find new courage. His golden eyes flicker, distinct against the gloomy sky.
とにかく、ここで新しい生活が始まるんだ。自分の行き先は自分で決めないと。
Vyn looks up, his gaze fixed in the distance, where a towering shape can be vaguely seen against the dark sky.
僕がやるべきこと、やりたいことは何だろう。
The rain continues to drizzle, and he hasn't yet thought enough of an answer that satisfies himself. At this moment, a resonant bell rings suddenly. It comes from a towering shape, a tall foreign-looking clock tower. Like Vyn, it seems out of place with everything else here, yet it still strikes the hour, reminding everyone of the passage of time.
そうか。僕のすべきことは、時の試練に耐えること。時間をかけて、自分の本当の心を確かめることだ。彼らだけではなく、自分自身にもはっきりと見せつけないといけない。
As Vyn finishes speaking, the clock tower and the sound of the bell gradually fade away. So, your original intention was to create something that could withstand the test of time and test your own heart.
うん。つまり、何か成果を上げるために自分の能力を試し続けるのではなく、自分自身のことを研究して、どんなことをやれるのか見極めたくて。僕は、森月心理教育研究所を設立しようと決めた。
I see. If that's the case, maybe you should take a look at who you are back then and who you've become now. Reflecting on your own changes will surely inspire you. I still remember that after drawing the cards, you asked me a question and praised my answer as perfect. At that time, you were already an elegant and gentle person in my eyes. A gentle breeze blows, ruffling your hair. Vyn looks at you and pauses without answering. Is he also reflecting on the card tower built with the Ace of Hearts? Or is he reliving the first moment he saw you? You try to read his eyes, but suddenly you feel the cold metal of the pocket watch in your pocket as your fingertips brush across it, which snaps you back to reality. Alright, Vyn, I found out that it stopped again this morning, but I haven't had a chance to tell you. This pocket watch is not completely broken, is it? You hand the pocket watch to Vyn, and he gently rubs the case before opening it. The dial is simple and retro, but unfortunately, the hands are still stuck at that moment, unmoving.
そうか。
What's wrong?
いや、運命は思いもよらないところから導いてくれるものだなと思って。クラーク賞を受賞して、当初の予定よりも早く一つのゴールに到達してしまったと思い込んでいたけど、思い直してみれば、これは好機だったのかもしれない。
Although you're not sure why Vyn changed his mind after seeing the pocket watch, it's good that he's starting to think about it positively. You're already taking the first step towards success by thinking that way. By the way, why don't we tweak our date plan a little?
突然予定を変更するなんて、何か納得できない部分でもあったのかい？
No, I do like it, but oh come on, just agree to it and stop asking questions, okay?
もちろん、構わないよ。
Having said that, you and Vin stand side by side once more, gazing into the distance, watching the sky ripple with the wind and the tall buildings stretch out like a web. Vin's office. After you and Vin leave the terrace garden, you go home to change your clothes and handle your own affairs. Near dusk, you come looking for Vin at his office after finishing your work. He's resting in his head on his arms, seemingly just woken up while surrounded by half-read documents, the stopped pocket watch, and a cup of unfinished tea.
ん？おや、来たのかい？
Yeah, I came over as soon as I finished up at the law firm. You must have been working really hard to have fallen asleep. Like that, Dr. Richter. You can't help but tease Vin with a smile, unaware that his lips are slightly parted. He has something to say. Hey, speaking of which, why is no one at the research center? You haven't seen any other staff members along the way here ever since you entered the main gate.
特別休暇中だよ。午前中、一緒に気分転換をした後、何にも邪魔されずに考える時間が欲しいと思ってね。研究所の入り口で待機してたメディアの対応をして、数日間はここを閉めて、外来の訪問客と患者の受け入れを停止すると伝えたんだ。
No wonder there's no one. And why not go home earlier? Why did you make me come here to find you?
本当は、この時間のうちに数年間の実績を振り返っておきたかったんだけど、つい眠ってしまってね。
Vin pauses as if recalling something upon realizing that you'd seen an unexpected moment of his. Then he looks up at you, his eyes filled with a tender light.
そう。とても特別な夢を見たから、あなたに聞いてもらいたくて。話してもいいかな？
Sure. Accompanied by Vin's gentle voice, a soft breeze enters through the half-open window, whisking you into the dream he just had. Tick tock, tick tock. It's as if time were rewinding. Both you and Vin are jolted awake by the incessant ticking of a clock. Around you, vines twist, white birds flutter, and green plants from high walls that intertwine with one another, weaving an endless
夢の
maze.
中の僕は、迷宮に入り込んでしまったんだ。周りを見渡せば、現実ではないとわかる。それなのに、どうしようもなくリアルに感じてしまって。
On the crumbling ruins, green leaves sprout, telling the tale of time's eternity, while thorny flower branches occasionally brush against his skin. Did you hesitate?
僕は最初にそこを離れようとしたからね。だけど、どの道を選んでも堂々巡りで、結局元の場所に戻ってきてしまう。
It seems the mysterious maze can read Vin's mind, for whenever he attempts to leave, walls spring up before he can reach the exit. He is surrounded by endless twisted vines, similar to the situation he is facing in reality. It feels like he is standing at the peak of a mountain with no way back, and there is nothing but impenetrable fog ahead.
その時、僕は一生ここから出られないかもしれないと思った。
This can't be right. You reach out, trying to clear the endless vines and leaves, but your touch goes right through them.
幸い、この漠然とした世界は長く続かなかったんだけどね。僕があなたのことを考えたから。僕にはやるべきことがまだたくさんある。そして、 あなたも迷宮の外で待ってくれている。
Vin's voice becomes tender, and so does his expression in the dream. In the dream, he rises once more and moves forward tirelessly. The plants and flowers around him watch as his block and force start over and over again, as if witnessing snow endlessly falling into a crystal ball, inside a crystal
夢の
ball.
中をどれだけ歩いたかはわからないけど、どんなに時間がかかっても必ず出口を見つけて抜け出すことができる。あなたのことも見つけられる。
Of course, you will. I'm not going anywhere. I'll stay right here waiting for you. At this moment, you can no longer distinguish between illusion and reality. Suddenly, an ancient bell rings from afar. It startles a flock of birds and brings a shower of rose petals carried by an inexplicable wind. The petals fall softly, and Vin spontaneously reaches out to catch them. Yet, just as the petals are about to touch his palm, the wind carries them away and sends them deeper into the mist. The flower rain from an unknown source continues to fall. It draws him forward like some mysterious guidance from somewhere beyond.
ここまで僕を連れてきてくれたのはあなただったんだね。
You are still a little dazed after hearing about Vin's dream, as if you are still standing in the vast green maze. Just now,
すごい夢だと思わないかい？
yeah, it feels surreal, yet somehow reasonable. Truth and illusion, reality and dream, they're intertwined and project onto each other. You can't quite tell if the response you heard is tied to the raining flowers, nor can you determine whether the last sentence was spoken by the wind beside you or his dream self. But was this dream really just a dream? You remain lost in thought until your phone suddenly vibrates. You look at the message on the screen and sigh.
どうしたんだい？
There's an urgent meeting. I have to go back to the law firm.
構わないよ。行っておいで。ここを片付けてから迎えに行くから。
Then Vin closes the file on the desk. He suddenly catches sight of something, and his eyes widen in surprise. On the open pocket watch in his hand lies a rose petal of unknown origin. Outside the half-open glass window, a breeze blows through.
またこの時間。僕があなたと出会った瞬間で止まってる。僕がこの二つを結びつけて考える理由がようやく分かったよ。これがもう一つの答えなんだね。
He murmurs, but there is no one around to answer him. A soft wave ripples in Vin's eyes as he recalls the sweet moment of your first encounter again. Amber light casts a warm glow, illuminating the delicate petal as it kisses the tip of the watch's hand. Outside the research center. On the day of your deed, Vin gets up early to go out with you. As you get out of the car and stand outside the gate of the Genovine Mental Health Research Center, he cannot help but ask you.
デートの予定を変えると言っていたけれど、ここに来ることだったのかい？
Yes, I've prepared something special for you.
そうなんだね。よくわからないけど、楽しみになってきたよ。
Vin's office. The research center is very quiet since there is no one except the two of you. You take his hand and lead him into the familiar office, then ask him to relax and sit on the sofa.
もしかして、僕にセラピーをやろうとしているのかな？
Is it that obvious? Vin smiles lightly, waiting for your next words. Well, remember how we said that reviewing your changes would inspire you? And I thought that if something was bothering you, then you probably wouldn't be able to fully enjoy our date. So I figured out, why not just have a psychological therapy session and go back to the past with you to sort things out? So, would you give me, your temporary therapist, a chance? As you ask the question, you trace circles on his palm. Vyn doesn't know that before today's session, you've done a lot of preparation in private. Without a second of hesitation, he nods.
もちろん構わないよ。僕の親愛なるセラピストさん。
Okay then, make yourself more comfortable and close your eyes. Vyn obediently adjusts his posture and slowly closes his eyes.
これでいいかい？何でも言う通りにするよ。
Vyn sitting before you, looking completely unguarded, his usual golden aura temporarily gone. You raise your hand, gently caress his cheek, and pause for a moment before touching his closed eyes. Your fingertips feel his eyeballs move slightly, then quickly settle down. Relax, let's start recalling things bit by bit. Let's start from that rainy night. Tell me. After that day, what did you do to establish the research center? You say it softly in order to guide him to recall. The sound of rain begins to echo in the air, drawing him into the memory.
あの日から現実は思うようにいかなくて、最初は多くの難問に直面した。
He describes the past event calmly, as if he were an onlooker. Though he only mentions a few small things, you can still get a sense of what he was trying to achieve back then. To build his career and make a name for himself in a foreign land, he had to be strong, perfect, and handle everything flawlessly. You must have worked very hard during that period. At these words, Vyn's brow softened slightly.
そんなことはないよ。これが僕のやるべきことだったから。でも、改めてあなたにそう言ってもらえると、嬉しい。
What happened after that?
それから数年間かけて、研究所は順調に成長して、何も問題は起きなかったよ。生活が軌道に乗り始めて、僕は研究所の運営で忙しくなり、プロジェクトのことを常に気にかけていた。
Vyn's memories come to life as he speaks, and you can imagine him handling matters seriously with a professional attitude. If nothing unexpected had occurred, he would have remained calm forever. At this moment, Vyn pauses for a moment and then continues.
すべてが順調だったんだ。研究所の評判も上がって、表彰も次々と受けるようになって。同時に、僕の生活は平坦なものになっていった。あなたに出会うまでは。
Vyn exhales softly, though his eyes are still closed. You feel as if he is looking directly at you. The warmth of your first meeting melted the ice walls the man, lost in his world of research, had built around himself.
特別だと思った。だから、一目見て近づきたいと思ったんだよ。あなたを僕の世界に引き込んで、僕のしていることを見せたい衝動に駆られたけど、当時の僕は、直接人の感情に触れることへの不信感があって、観察と推測ばかりしていたからね。もしあの時、迷ってあなたを試すような真似をしないでいたら、もっと早くに結ばれていたのではないかなと、今になって思う。
There is a hint of regret in his voice, as if the hesitation and distrust he felt when you first met were walls he built in his heart, only to repeatedly try and tear them down. Yet those moments of uncertainty and cautious probing were what stripped away Vyn's shell, revealing his true warmth and drawing you closer to him. The man before you is captivating, his words like stones thrown into the lake of your heart, creating ripples of love. you can't help but. Your fingertips slide down and your lips brush against his most sensitive spot. There is no other way to express the tumultuous emotions surging within you. Vyn, eyes closed, seemed to have been taken off guard as he trembled slightly in response.
今のは
Please don't say anything, Vyn. You murmur his name, your voice tinged with longing. The amber sunlight softly falls upon you both. You feel him let out a barely audible sigh. Then he relaxes and surrenders, allowing you to continue kissing him. You don't know how long it's been, but eventually your emotion settles. You reluctantly pull away and tell him your response. There wasn't anything wrong with it back then. In the beginning, sometimes I was like you too. I couldn't always understand my own feelings and often tried to hide them, like when I suggested becoming your teaching assistant. While I claimed that I had an interest in psychology or said that it would help with my legal work, it was never the real reason. I just wanted to know you better.
ずいぶんと昔から僕たちは似た者同士だったんだね。
As the memories you brought up unfolded, Vyn spoke of your shared experiences with a gentle, tender touch. From your first bike ride together, your first dance to the first time you volunteered to an orphanage, and the first time you met his mother. He remembers every tiny detail so vividly that it feels you are the one being healed. It was he who was guiding you through these memories, not the other way around. As the final note piece settles in, the therapy session comes to an end. Vyn opens his eyes, their golden glow as bright and inviting as ever. The therapy is done. How was it?
とても良かったよ。こうして過去を振り返ってみたことで自分の変化を捉えられた気がするね。ただ一つだけはっきりしないことがある。あなたに答えてほしいんだ。
Oh, what is it?
過去の僕については全て分かったと思う。だけど今の僕はどうだろうか。あなたなら誰より、いや僕よりもよく分かっているんじゃないかな。あなたの答えを聞かせてもらえるかい？
The room is silent and Vyn is looking at you intently as if your answer is the final piece to a puzzle he's been assembling. You wonder what you see in him now. Without hesitation, you smile and take his hands. Of course, after everything we've been through, I know you better than anyone else. In my eyes, there's one thing about you that has never changed.
それは
From the moment I met you until now, you've always been so professional. You're always so calm and level-headed about your academic research, and you never let anything or anyone sway you. That's something I really admire.
そうかな。僕からすれば精神科医として当然のことだろうと思っていたけれど。
You're being too humble. But beside that, I've noticed you change, and it is something I truly cherish. A flicker of light appears in Vyn's eyes as he waits for you to continue. You have become warmer. You're much more emotionally expressive now, and you have a deeper understanding of emotions. Of course, after all this time together, I know exactly who you are. I've noticed you change, which I truly cherish.
それは
From the moment we met until now, you've become warmer. You're much more emotionally expressive now, and you have a deeper understanding of emotions. I know how difficult it must have been for you to change, given everything you've been through. That's why I'm truly grateful to have been there to witness it. Vin shakes his head slightly, his fingers tracing the back of your hand.
幸せだなんて。だって、僕を変えてくれたのは、他でもないあなたなんだよ。
I'm talking about your changes, so stop giving me all the credit. You tilt your head slightly at him and continue. Besides, there's something else I really admire about you. Time wears people down, yet you've always stayed true to your academic pursuits. You're always so professional and level-headed, and you never let anything or anyone sway you. That unwavering dedication is something not everyone possesses. Memories flood your mind of the countless hours you'd spent together, each moment shaping the Vyn in front of you now. Vyn continues looking at you in silence, patiently waiting for you to finish. That's the Vyn I see now, the perfect Vyn. Your unchanged professionalism and newfound warmth makes you perfect. I believe in you, and I support whatever decision you make. I know the research center will thrive under your leadership. Vyn smiles, his face illuminated by the soft light.
完璧な僕か。そこまで高く評価してくれるなんてね。
Yes, because you're Vyn, the one I choose, the one I love the most.
僕にとってのあなたも同じだよ。
Vyn raises his hand, gently tucking a strand of your hair behind your ear, just as he has done countless times before. The sunlight shifts with time, slanting over both of you, casting your shadows at an angle.
研究所のことだけど、答えは決まったよ。
Really? His fingers brush through your hair once more as he looks at you with a soft smile.
うん。偶然だけれど、あなたの話していたことは、僕の考えと似ている部分があってね。
You look curiously at Vyn as he tilts his head slightly.
変わったことと変わらないこと。研究所の未来にもどちらともが存在するんだ。より多くのプロジェクトで協力を仰ぐために闇雲に規模を拡大することはしない。これは変わらないことだ。そして変わっていくことは現在の研究の方向性に積極思考に関する研究と法律面での課題を融合させる。あれ？そこまで驚くなんて意外だな。僕の変化はあなたがもたらしたもので、これからも二人は一緒に歩んでいくんだろ？それなら、研究所の未来にあなたの存在を考慮するのは自然なことだ。
Vyn leans closer and whispers into your ear. His love for you is evident. Overwhelmed by emotion, you are speechless. You'd imagine countless possibilities for the future of the research center, but this was never one you considered. Well, I think that's a wonderful idea.
ただ、今はまだ構想段階に過ぎないから、具体的に話がまとまったときは、あなたが法律と感情の専門家として、僕にアドバイスをくれないかい？
Of course! You can't help but wrap your arms around Vyn, and he effortlessly lifts you and spins you in a circle. The moment your feet touch the ground, he pulls you onto the couch with him. The two of you nestle together in the small space. The thin shadows of trees and the soft glow of lights ripple, dancing gently across the ceiling in an almost hypnotic manner.
今日のデート、忘れられそうにないな。
I agree. Do you like it?
もちろん、特別な思い出になったよ。単に発展を祝うのとは違って、 二人が一つになって未来に進もうとしている。そんな気がしたんだ。
Hearing Vin's words, you can't help but reach your hand toward the ceiling. Vin follows suit, mirroring your movements. Under the swaying shadows and light, your fingers intertwine as if the two of you are holding onto something precious. After a moment, Vin leans closer and whispers,
マイローズ。ありがとう。悩みは解決したよ。それで、これからどうしようか。元から計画していたデートに戻るのかな？
Well, I guess so. You say nothing more, and neither does he. Together, you simply let the light and shadows above blur into one. The date that had begun in the afternoon soon returns to the original plan you and Vin have made. Just like any other couple at an amusement park, you ride roller coasters, go through a haunted house, and take pictures with the mascots. The day overflows with an abundance of sweetness and excitement that transcends mere fantasy and romance. And yet, joyous times like this always slip away unnoticed. As a final burst of fireworks scatters across the sky, the clock ages toward midnight. Hoyoland. The sparks fade into the night, and the crowds around the central plaza begin to disperse. Getting off the Ferris wheel, Vin takes your hand, his fingers gently sliding against yours.
花火も見終わったことだし、そろそろ帰ろうか。
Give me a half an hour. There's one more place I want to go. A look of surprise crosses Vin's face for a brief moment before he realizes what you are meant by I guess so.
それも僕のために特別に用意してくれたことなのかい？
You'll see when we get there. It's a secret. Clock Plaza. Vin follows you deeper into the Clock Plaza. A clock tower hidden in the night slowly comes into view as you approach. Its design carries a vintage foreign charm, with a massive and intricately crafted clock suspended at the top. It is shrouded in darkness, as the area around it is devoid of light, making it visible only to those who seek it out.
ここは。
Vin's expression shifts slightly as he glances at the clock tower in the distance, then back at you. It's this park's new clock tower. I heard it resembles the one you saw when you first came to Stellis. So I thought, why not bring you here during our date to take a look? According to the park, this clock tower isn't open to the public yet. I tried some legal consultation for early access. You explain with a light, teasing tone, twirling the key in your hand. Though you face some hurdles to secure permission, you feel Vin doesn't need to know about them. What matters is helping him revisit a piece of his past with you by his side. Vin looks at you in silence for a long while before an utterly tender smile spreads across his face. He holds out his hand.
うん。そうしたら、一緒に行こうか。
You place your hand in his, and it feels warmer than usual. Clock Tower Rooftop. You walk through the night and up the steps until you reach the top of the clock tower, the highest point in the entire amusement park. Below, the colorful and continuous lights of the spot stretch out like a neon sea. Behind you, the enormous circular clock stands tall, overlooking everything below it. Tick. Your shadows stretch across the clock face as the two of you remain alone in this small, elevated space beneath the vast night sky. The view is pretty good, isn't it? The colorful lights filter through the intersecting metal grills and reflect off the hanging lanterns. A gentle breeze lifts the dark red veil and tousles his hair.
綺麗だね。あなたと一緒だからなおさら。
I'm glad you like it. At first, I wondered if bringing you here to see the view might be too crazy or strange. Vyn lets out a soft sigh and leans closer.
そんなことはないよ。僕だってあなたと同じ。特に理由もない考えが浮かぶことがある。そして最後までそれを探求すると、急に思いついたことには必ず原因があるものなんだ。
Huh? Your casual conversation has taken on a deeper meaning in Vyn's words. Catching your confusion, he smiles knowingly. As his soft voice drifts into your ears, his palm rests warmly against your waist.
研究所の今後について考えていたとき、急に説明のつかないことをひらめいたんだけど。それは、初めてあなたに会った時の光景を思い起こすものだった。同時に起きたことではないのに、なぜ無意識に二つを想起してしまうのか。不思議で仕方がなかった。ようやく、その理由が分かったんだよ。
Why? You ask involuntarily as memories float back, confirming that his steadfast gazes back in time were never your imagination. Vyn pulls you closer, his voice growing even softer.
僕にとって、あなたと研究所は、どちらも僕の人生に深く関わる。出発点と転換点を意味しているんだ。
His golden eyes lock onto yours, holding you captive in their depths, even though you are standing atop the tower.
どんな人にとっても、自責と感情というものは人生において欠かせない、重要なものだろう。僕は運に恵まれて、そのどちらともが完璧な結果をもたらしてくれた。僕は本当に嬉しい。ここに来れたことが。そしてあの日、あなたに出会えたことが。
There's something magical about first encounters, especially when they carry another name, love at first sight. A surge of excitement and warmth floods through you, and you can't resist teasing him with a playful raise of your eyebrow. I'm grateful to have met you too. But when you establish the research center and had your own reasons for doing so, what about me then? Why did you fall in love with me at first sight? You've always wanted to know the answer, even though you believe that love at first sight rarely has a tangible reason. Will Vyn be surprised, or will he be slightly annoyed? The thought makes you want to cup his face to trace the lines of his brows and eyes. Yet to your surprise, his expression remains the same, only the emotion in his golden eyes deepen. With the endless sparkles in the background, you see the distance between you growing closer and closer. The night wind plays with Vyn's hair, and the neon light shatter into countless sparks. His fingers gently weave through your hair as he answers seriously.
そうだね。どうしてあなたを一目見て好きになったんだろう。僕自身、何度も自分の心に問いかけたよ。
Light and shadow plays across his face, softening his features in a dream-like haze. Yet the steady pressure of his palm and the warmth of his breath are unmistakable, as if the sheen emanating from the edges of his tousled hair under the halo of light.
時間とあなたが最後に答えを教えてくれたよ。僕にとって一目惚れの本質は潜在意識における心が変わるきっかけだった。それはね、当時の漠然とした未来に対する予感でもあったんだよ。
A hunch?
うん。僕はあなたに会って特別なものを感じて親しくなりたいと思った。その予感が教えてくれた。あなたの美しさはそれまでの僕が知らないもので、あなたがいる未来で僕は変わっていけるだろうと。
The neon light stretched on into the night as the clock hands keep ticking. The scattered specks of light suddenly gathered together again, turning into a continuous stream-like brilliance behind him.
そして本質を悟るよりも先にこのチャンスを手放すなと心が僕を駆り立ててあなたを好きになった。
Vyn,
あなたと出会ったその日から一緒にいろんなことを経験して距離が近づくにつれて僕はこの気持ちの尊さをより確信した。これまでの疑心暗鬼やためらい、無念さといった心の隙間をあなたの存在が埋めてくれたんだよ。
Vyn's lips are almost about to touch your cheek, both stained with a deep red of hanging veil. You realize that unknowingly you have both grown so close. And it's the same for me. You've also taught me so much. Before you can finish, you feel yourself being pulled even closer, Vyn's hand tightening around your waist. His eyes, stirred by your words, seems to brim with thoughts, brewing a dense and lingering emotion. That the night stretches endlessly, darker than ink, yet the confined space you share with him glows with radiant light.
一目惚れの答え以外にもあなたに言っておきたいことがあってね。
Which is... He takes another step forward. The face you've memorized 1,000 times comes into sharper focus, inch by inch drawing nearer.
何もかもを理解してあなたに心を動かされた理由を知った後、もし迷わずに初めから自分の思いを正直に受け入れていたらどうなっていたのか考えていたことの答えだけど、もっと情熱的に僕のことを感じてもらえたに違いないって。
Before you can hesitate or ask questions, Vyn cups your neck, his scent fills your nostrils. Just before your mind goes blank, you have a feeling that you are about to soar even higher than you are now.
愛してるよ。永遠にあなたを愛してる。
The next second, his kiss burns against your lips, melding with the chime of the clock striking midnight. You can't see the sea of neon lights blending and weaving together anymore. You can only feel his intoxicating scent and the relentless pounding of your heart. It feels as though you've been transported back to the day of his confession, now cloaked in deeper, more vivid hues. You can't help but tighten your arms around him once more. Tick, tock, tick, tock. In the days, you seem to hear the hands of a clock ticking again. The time you can never reclaim transforms these fleeting moments into a new beginning, one that belongs solely to you and Vyn.
あなたに目を奪われたとき、永遠に時間が止まればいいのに、と思ったよ。夢から覚めたとき、ここにバラの花びらが落ちていることに気づいてね。きっと、あの夢で見た舞い散る花びらのように、あなたが僕を導いてくれたんだろう。この先、あなたが僕のそばにいてくれるなら、僕はもう迷うことはないよ。見てごらん。また本物そっくりなバラの造花を作って飾ってみたんだ。初めて出会った時のあなたの美しさだけではなく、僕たちのことを表している。僕たちの人生は交差して、この花のように永遠に満たされた日々を共に作り上げていくんだよ。不思議だと思わないかい？僕の人生にとって大切な二つの出来事が、こうして一つの道になるとはね。未来の僕たちがどこへ向かうのか、この花には一緒に見届けてもらおう。